Korean Mafia boss walked in on a black woman in his shower. His child whispered, "She's the one." I stood there, gun drawn, steam swirling around me, staring at a woman who had no business being in my home. She clutched my shower curtain like it could protect her from a bullet, her eyes wide with terror. "Who are you?" I demanded. "How did you get in here?" "Please," she gasped, water still dripping down her face. "Please don't shoot me. I can explain. I swear I can explain. You have 5 seconds. I live here. I thought I lived here. Apartment 14A. I have a key. I have a lease. Please just let me show you. This is the penthouse. There is no apartment here. Only my home." Her face crumpled with confusion and fear. "That's impossible." The key worked. The door opened. "I just moved in 3 days ago and I have been working double shifts and I never even noticed that." Before she could finish, I heard small footsteps behind me. My blood ran cold. I turned to see my 6-year-old daughter standing in the hallway, her stuffed rabbit dangling from her hand. "Sumin, go back to bed. Now." But she did not move. She simply stared at the terrified woman in my shower, her head tilted to the side like she was listening to something only she could hear. Then she tugged my sleeve and whispered words that stopped my heart. "Appa. She is the one. The woman from my dreams. She is finally here." What happened next shattered everything I thought I knew about fate. I looked down at my daughter, then back at the woman frozen in my shower. The gun felt heavy in my hand. Sumin had never said anything like this before. Not once in the 2 years since her mother died. "Sumin, what are you talking about? She is the one you have been waiting for. Appa. She will make the sad go away." The woman's voice cut through the moment, trembling but trying to stay calm. "I don't know what your daughter is talking about, but I promise you, this is just a terrible misunderstanding. My name is Naomi Harper. I am a pediatric nurse at Cedars-Sinai. I moved here from Atlanta 3 days ago. A woman named Grace Chen sublet me apartment 14A. I have the paperwork in my bag right there by the sink." I lowered the gun slightly but kept it ready. "Show me." Slowly. She reached out with a shaking hand, water still dripping from her hair, and grabbed a leather bag sitting on the bathroom counter. She pulled out a folder with trembling fingers and held it out to me. I took it, stepping back, my eyes never leaving her. Inside was a lease agreement. Apartment 14A, but no floor number specified. Just the building address. My building address. "What floor did you think this was?" I asked. "The 14th floor," she said quickly. Grace told me 14A. The elevator, I pressed 14. The key worked in the door, so I just thought, this is the penthouse level. Floor 42. Her eyes went wide. "Oh my God. Oh my God. I am so stupid." The elevator. There were 2 buttons. I did not even look. I just pressed the one that said 14 and the master key system, I said quietly, more to myself than to her. "This building still uses the old master key configuration for emergency access. Your key must be coded to the legacy system." I pulled out my phone and called building security. "This is J1 Park, penthouse. I need you to verify a tenant. Grace Chun, apartment 14A. Is there a current sublet agreement on file?" The voice on the other end shuffled through papers. "Yes, Mr. Park. Ms. Chun filed paperwork for a Naomi Harper, nurse, moved in this week. Sublet is approved through the end of the year." "What floor is 14A?" 14th floor, sir." I hung up and looked at her. "Your story checks out." The relief on her face was immediate. She sagged against the shower wall. "Thank God. Thank you. I am so sorry. I will leave right now. I will figure out where I actually live and I will never bother you again." Sumin tugged my hand. "Appa, she cannot leave. She just got here. She does not live here, Sumin. She made a mistake." It was not a mistake, my daughter insisted with that eerie certainty she sometimes had. "She was supposed to come here first." I ignored her and looked back at Naomi. "Get dressed. I will wait outside. Then I will have security escort you to your actual apartment." "Thank you," she whispered. "And I am so sorry." I ushered Sumin out of the bathroom and closed the door. My daughter looked up at me with those big, dark eyes that saw too much. "Why are you sending her away?" "Because she does not belong here." "Yes, she does. I have seen her, Appa, 3 times in my dreams. She was always coming through water, and now she is here. A chill ran down my spine. Sumin had these dreams sometimes. Dreams that came true in ways I could not explain. My mother said she had the sight, a gift passed down through the women in our family. I did not believe in such things, but I could not deny what I had witnessed. We will talk about this later. Go back to bed. I am not sleepy anymore. Then sit on the couch and wait quietly. 5 minutes later, Naomi emerged from the bathroom fully dressed in scrubs. Her hair still damp, her face flushed with embarrassment. She clutched her bag to her chest like a shield. I am ready. Again, I cannot apologize enough. Before I could respond, my phone buzzed. Security again. Mr. Park, we have a situation. There is a burst pipe on the 14th floor. Apartments 14A through 14F are being evacuated. Water damage is significant. Tenants are being relocated to the hotel across the street until repairs are completed. I closed my eyes. Of course. How long for repairs? At least a week, possibly 2. We will update tenants tomorrow morning. I hung up and looked at Naomi. Your apartment has a burst pipe. The entire floor is being evacuated. Her face fell. You are kidding. I do not kid. So I do not even have the wrong apartment anymore. I just have no apartment. The hotel across the street is handling relocations. She laughed, but it was the kind of laugh that comes right before crying. Perfect. Perfect. My first week in Los Angeles and I break into a penthouse and become homeless in the same night. This is just perfect. Sumin stood up from the couch. She can stay here, Appa. We have the guest room. Nobody uses it. No, Naomi said quickly. No, absolutely not. You have done more than enough by not calling the police. I will figure something out. But even as she said it, I could see the exhaustion in her eyes. She had mentioned working double shifts. She looked like she was about to collapse. Against every instinct, against every rule I had about keeping people out of my private space, I heard myself say, the guest room is available. Just for tonight. She stared at me. I cannot accept that. You are a pediatric nurse who made an honest mistake. My daughter insists you are meant to be here, and when she insists on things, arguing is pointless. It is late. You are exhausted. Take the room. Figure out your situation in the morning. Why are you being so kind to someone who broke into your home? I looked at Sumin, who was smiling like she had won the lottery. Because my daughter asked, I said simply, and I rarely deny her anything. Naomi's eyes softened. Okay, thank you. Just for tonight. That night became 2 nights. Then 3. The repairs on the 14th floor kept getting delayed. And somehow Naomi Harper became a fixture in my home. The morning after that first night, I woke to the smell of coffee and something sweet. I walked into the kitchen to find Naomi making pancakes while Sumin sat at the counter, chattering away in a mix of Korean and English. I hope you do not mind, Naomi said when she saw me. Sumin said you usually do not have time for breakfast, so I thought I would make something quick. I am a stress baker, or cooker, whatever. When I am anxious, I cook. You are anxious? I spent the night in a stranger's house after he found me in his shower. Yes, I am anxious. Fair point. Sumin grinned at me. Naomi makes shapes. Appa. Look, this one is a bunny like Mr. Hoppy. She held up a pancake that did, in fact, look like a rabbit. I sat down at the counter, accepting the coffee Naomi poured for me. You did not have to do this. I know, but I wanted to. It is the least I can do. We ate breakfast together, the 3 of us, and it felt strange. I had not had a meal like this, casual and warm, since before my wife died. My home was usually silent in the mornings. Efficient. Cold. So what do you do? Naomi asked, making conversation. For work, I run a business. Import and export. That sounds interesting. What do you import? Various goods. Electronics. Textiles. Whatever the market needs. It was not technically a lie, but it was not the whole truth either. She seemed to accept it. And you? I asked. You said you are a nurse? Pediatric nurse, she confirmed. I just started at Cedars-Sinai. I moved here for a fresh start. From Atlanta? She nodded, something flickering in her eyes. Something painful. Yes. I needed a change. New city, new life, new everything. Running from something? She met my gaze directly. Are not we all running from something? Touché. After breakfast, Naomi insisted on cleaning up. I went to my office to handle some business calls, the kind that required privacy. When I emerged an hour later, I found Naomi and Sumin in the living room, building an elaborate structure out of blocks. It is a hospital, Sumin explained, for sick bunnies. Every bunny deserves good health care, Naomi said seriously, placing another block. I watched them for a moment, unnoticed. My daughter was laughing, really laughing, the kind of pure joy I had not seen from her in months. If you enjoyed this story so far and want to see where this impossible connection leads, hit that subscribe button now. Because what starts as a simple misunderstanding is about to become the most complicated and beautiful thing either of us has ever experienced. The days blurred together. Naomi stayed in the guest room. Building management kept pushing back the timeline for repairs. First 1 week, then 2, then a month. I could have insisted she move to the hotel, but I did not. She worked night shifts often, coming home exhausted in the early morning hours. I worked irregular hours too, often late into the night. We developed a rhythm. She would make breakfast when she could. I would leave coffee ready for her when she worked overnight. Sumin adored her. One evening, about 3 weeks after she had arrived, I came home to find Naomi on the floor of the living room, teaching Sumin how to braid hair. Your daughter has been asking me about her mother, Naomi said carefully. I hope that is okay. I told her she should ask you. Sumin looked up at me. Naomi's mama taught her to braid. Did my mama know how to braid? I sat down on the couch, the question landing heavier than it should. Yes, your mama knew how to braid. She was going to teach you when you got older. Can you tell me about her? I glanced at Naomi, who gave me an encouraging nod. Your mother was strong, I said slowly. She was kind. She loved to sing, even though she was not very good at it. Sumin giggled. Like you, Appa. Yes, like me. She loved you more than anything in the world. And she would be very proud of the person you are becoming. Do you miss her? Every day. Naomi quietly excused herself, giving us space. But I noticed the way she wiped at her eyes as she left the room. Later that night, after Sumin was asleep, I found Naomi on the balcony, looking out at the city lights. I am sorry if I overstepped, she said, with the questions about her mother. You did not. She needs to talk about her. I just do not always know how. Grief is hard, especially when you are trying to be strong for someone else. I leaned against the railing beside her. You speak from experience? My grandmother raised me. She died 2 years ago. I still reach for my phone to call her sometimes. I am sorry. Me too. We stood in comfortable silence for a moment. Can I ask you something? She said finally. Of course. Why did you really let me stay? And do not say it is because of Sumin. You could have sent me to the hotel. I considered the question, considered lying. But something about the way she looked at me made me want to tell the truth. Because my daughter has not smiled like that since her mother died. And because you brought light into this apartment that I did not realize was missing. She turned to face me fully. Whatever she was going to say was interrupted by my phone ringing. I glanced at the screen. Business. The kind I could not ignore. I have to take this. She nodded. Of course. I walked back inside, answering in Korean. The conversation was terse. A shipment had been intercepted. Not the legal kind. Someone was moving against us. Tensions were rising. When I returned to the balcony, Naomi was gone. I found a note on the counter. Thank you for sharing about Sumin's mother. You are a better father than you give yourself credit for. See you in the morning, Naomi. The next few weeks were a careful dance. Naomi and I circled each other, drawn together but both holding back. She would catch me watching her. I would catch her watching me. The tension built slowly, inevitably. One Friday evening, I came home earlier than usual. My mother was visiting, sitting in my living room with Sumin, when I walked in. Jae-won, my mother said in Korean. Who is this woman living in your home? She is a friend. Her apartment flooded. A friend? My mother's eyes narrowed. Suman says she has been here for over a month. The repairs are taking longer than expected. She is black. I am aware. This is not appropriate. What will people think? I do not care what people think. You should. You have responsibilities. A reputation. This woman, her name is Naomi, and she has been nothing but kind to your granddaughter. That is not the point. Then what is the point, Amma? My mother stood, straightening her coat. The point is that you are J1 Park. You are not some ordinary man who can do as he pleases. You have obligations. To the family. To the business. My obligations are to my daughter. And right now, Naomi makes her happy. And what about you? Does this woman make you happy? I did not answer. I did not know how. My mother left, her disapproval hanging in the air like smoke. Suman tugged my hand. Halmoni does not like Naomi. Halmoni does not know Naomi. Will she make Naomi leave? No one is making anyone leave. But even as I said it, I knew the complications were building. My mother was not wrong. I was not an ordinary man. My world was dangerous, dark, and the more Naomi became part of my life, the more I worried about what that meant for her. That night, Naomi came home from her shift to find me sitting in the dark living room, a glass of whiskey in my hand. Are you okay? She asked, setting down her bag. My mother came by today. I heard. Suman told me. She said your mom was not happy about me being here. She has opinions about many things. Naomi sat down across from me. J1, if my being here is causing problems with your family, I can leave. The hotel would be fine. I have been imposing for too long anyway. You are not imposing. Then what am I doing here? She asked it gently, but the question hung heavy between us. I set down my glass. Honestly, I do not know. I just know that I am not ready for you to leave. Why? Because you make my daughter laugh. Because you brought warmth into a home that has been cold for 2 years. Because when you are here, I remember what it feels like to be something other than what I have to be out there. And what do you have to be out there? I hesitated. The truth sat on my tongue, dangerous and necessary. Someone you would not want to know. Try me. Before I could respond, before I could confess the truth about my world, Suman's voice called out from her bedroom. A nightmare. Naomi stood immediately. I will go. I watched her disappear down the hallway, heard her soft voice comforting my daughter, and wondered how much longer I could keep the two parts of my life separate. The answer came sooner than I expected. 2 nights later, I had a meeting, the kind that required my personal attention. A rival faction was pushing into our territory. Words needed to be exchanged. Boundaries needed to be reinforced. I told Naomi I would be late. Business dinner. She did not question it. The meeting took place in a warehouse on the edge of the city. My second-in-command, Minjun, stood beside me as we faced down 3 men from the Southside crew. This is our territory, Park, their leader said. Has been for 6 months. Your territory is what I say it is, I replied calmly. And I say you leave. Now. Or what? I did not answer. I did not need to. The men behind me made the threat clear enough. The conversation escalated. Voices rose. Hands moved toward weapons. And then I heard it. A gasp from the shadows. I turned to see Naomi standing in the entrance of the warehouse, her eyes wide with shock and horror. She must have followed me, must have been worried, must have wanted to check that I was safe. Instead, she found the truth. Naomi, I started, but she was already backing away, shaking her head. No, no, what is this? What are you? I moved toward her, but she flinched. Do not, just do not. And then she ran. I turned to Minjun. Handle this. And I went after her. I caught up to her in the parking lot. She was fumbling with her phone, tears streaming down her face. Naomi, please, let me explain. Explain what? That you are a criminal? That I have been living with a gangster? That I let your daughter get attached to someone whose father does God knows what in warehouses at midnight? It is not that simple. Then make it simple, J1. Tell me I am wrong. Tell me what I saw back there was not what it looked like. I could not. The lie would not come. She laughed bitterly. That is what I thought. I have to go. I have to get my things and I have to leave. Where will you go? Anywhere that is not here. Anywhere that does not involve organized crime and guns and whatever else you are hiding. I grabbed her arm gently. Please, just come back to the apartment. Let me take you somewhere safe. Then we can talk. There is nothing to talk about. Yes, there is. Because whether you want to admit it or not, you feel something for me. And I feel something for you. And walking away from that without even a conversation is not fair to either of us. Fair? She pulled her arm free. You want to talk about fair? I left Atlanta to escape a controlling man who made decisions for me. Who lied to me. Who had a whole life I did not know about. And here I am, somehow in the exact same situation. I am not him. How would I know? I do not even know who you really are. Car pulled up. Minjun in the driver's seat. He looked at me, waiting for instructions. Take her back to the apartment, I told him in Korean. Make sure she is safe. I will handle the rest here. Naomi shook her head. I am not getting in a car with your people. Then I will take you myself. But you are not walking the streets alone at this hour. Not in this neighborhood. She must have seen something in my face, some genuine fear for her safety, because she finally nodded. The drive back to the penthouse was silent. She sat as far from me as possible, her arms wrapped around herself. When we arrived, she went straight to the guest room and locked the door. I stood outside for a long moment, my forehead pressed against the wood. I never wanted you to see that part of my life, I said quietly. I wanted to keep you separate from it, safe from it. Her voice came from the other side, muffled by tears. You do not get to make that choice for me. You should have told me who you were from the beginning. Would you have stayed if I had? Silence. Exactly, I said. And I am selfish enough that I wanted you to stay. I heard her slide down to sit against the door. I could picture her on the other side, knees pulled to her chest. Who are you really? She asked. My name is Jae-won Park. I am the son of a man who built an empire in the shadows. When he died, I inherited that empire. I have tried to make it less violent, less cruel, but it is still what it is. I move money. I move goods. Some legal, some not. I have power in this city that most people never see. And I have done things I am not proud of to keep that power. Have you killed people? The question hung in the air. I closed my eyes. Yes. I heard her sob on the other side of the door. But I have been trying to build something different, I continued. For Sumin. I do not want her to inherit this life. I want her to have choices I never had. And when you came into our lives, you showed me what normal could look like. What happiness could be. And I wanted that so badly I convinced myself I could have both. You cannot, she whispered. You cannot be a good man and do bad things. I know. That is why I have been working on an exit strategy. Transferring power. Legitimizing operations. Takes time. Years maybe. But I am trying. Why should I believe you? Because I have never lied to you. I have withheld the truth, yes. But I have never lied. And I am not lying now when I say that you and Sumin are the only good things in my life. The only things worth changing for. More silence. Then I heard the lock click. The door opened slowly. Naomi stood there, her eyes red and swollen. I need time, she said. Time to think. Time to figure out if I can live with what you are. How much time? I do not know. But I cannot stay here while I figure it out. I will go to the hotel. I will still see Sumin if that is okay because I cannot just disappear on her. But you and me, we need space. It felt like a knife to the chest. But I nodded. Okay. She packed her things while I woke Sumin to explain. My daughter cried, clinging to Naomi's neck. You are leaving because of the bad things, Sumin said, her child's intuition cutting straight to the truth. I am leaving because I need to think, Naomi said gently. But I promise I will still see you. I will take you for ice cream this weekend. Okay. You promise? Promise. After Naomi left, Sumin turned to me with tears still streaming down her face. Are you going to fix it, Appa? I am going to try. The dreams say she comes back. But only if you choose right. Choose right about what? Who you want to be. The next 2 weeks were the longest of my life. I threw myself into work, both the legitimate business and the less legitimate. But my heart was not in it. Minjun noticed. You are distracted, he said during a meeting. That is dangerous. I know. Is it the woman? Yes. She is a complication we do not need right now. The Southside crew is making moves. The Chinese syndicate is asking questions. We need you focused. I am focused. You are in love. That is different. I looked at him sharply. He shrugged. I have known you since we were children, J1. I can tell. What would you do? I asked. If you were me, I would let her go. This life has no room for love. You know that. My wife grew up in this world. She understood it. This woman is different. She is innocent. And innocence does not survive in our world. He was right. I knew he was right. But I also knew I could not let Naomi go without a fight. I kept my promise to let her see Sumin. Every weekend, she would take my daughter for ice cream or to the park. She was kind but distant with me, polite, like I was a stranger, until everything changed. It was a Tuesday afternoon. I was in a meeting at my office downtown when my phone rang. The school. My blood ran cold. Mr. Park, the principal's voice was shaking. There has been an incident. Someone tried to take Sumin from the playground. My entire world stopped. Is she safe? Yes. Yes, our security stopped them. The police are here. But Mr. Park, they were armed. This was not a random attempt. I am on my way. I called Minjun immediately. Get everyone to the school. Now. And find out who ordered this. The drive to Sumin's private school was a blur. When I arrived, police were everywhere. I found my daughter in the principal's office, wrapped in a blanket, her eyes vacant with shock. I dropped to my knees in front of her. Sumin. Baby. Are you hurt? She shook her head slowly. The man said he had a message for you. He said to tell you that Southside does not forget. Rage filled every cell in my body. But I pushed it down. Not here. Not in front of my daughter. I pulled her into my arms. You are safe now. Promise. No one will hurt you. But even as I said it, I knew the truth. As long as I was in this life, my daughter would never be truly safe. The principal cleared his throat. Mr. Park, perhaps we should discuss additional security measures. No, I said quietly. We will be discussing withdrawal procedures. Sumin will not be returning to this school. Sir, we have the best security in the city. And yet someone got close enough to my daughter to deliver a threat. That is unacceptable. I took Sumin home, surrounded by my men. The penthouse became a fortress. Guards in the lobby. Guards on the floor. I called my mother, told her what happened. She arrived within the hour. This is what happens, she said in Korean, her voice hard. This is the price of our life. You knew this when you took over for your father. I never asked for this, but you accepted it. And now your daughter pays the price. After she left, I sat in the dark, holding Sumin as she finally fell asleep from exhaustion. And I made a decision. I called Minjun. Set up a meeting with the council. I am stepping down. The silence on the other end was profound. You cannot be serious. I have never been more serious about anything in my life. J1, if you step down now after this attack, you will look weak. They will come after you anyway. After Sumin. You need to retaliate first. Show strength. I am done showing strength through violence. I am done with all of it. Set up the meeting. Then I did something I had not done in 2 weeks. I called Naomi. She answered on the third ring. Hello? It is me. I know you said you needed space. But something happened. And I need you to know. I told her everything. The attempted kidnapping. Sumin's trauma. My decision to leave. She was silent for a long moment. Is she okay? Sumin? Physically, yes. Emotionally, she is terrified. I am coming over. Naomi, you do not have to. I am coming over. That little girl needs people who love her. And despite everything, despite what you are and what you have done, I love that child. So I am coming over. She arrived 20 minutes later. When Sumin woke and saw her, the dam finally broke. My daughter sobbed in Naomi's arms, all the fear she had been holding in pouring out. I was so scared, she cried. They said they were going to take me. I know, baby. I know. But you are safe now. Your daddy is here. I am here. You are safe. I watched them. This woman who owed me nothing comforting my daughter, and I felt something break open in my chest. Later, After Sumin fell back asleep, Naomi and I sat in the living room. "You are really leaving?" she asked. "The business?" "I am trying. It is not simple. There are power structures, agreements, debts. But I told my second to arrange a transfer. I am stepping down as head of the organization. And they will just let you walk away?" "If I do it right, yes. I have been preparing for this longer than you know. I have leverage, information, enough to ensure my exit is clean." "Why now?" "Because my daughter whispered a threat from grown men today. Because the one person I saw in her eyes was not anger or sadness. It was resignation, like she expected this. Like she already knew her life would always be defined by her father's choices. I will not let that be her story." Naomi reached across the space between us and took my hand. It was the first time she had touched me in 2 weeks. "I have been thinking," she said softly, "about what you said, about trying to change. And I realized something. I spent my whole life around people who never changed, who promised to but never did. My father, my ex, they said the words but never took action. But you are actually doing it. Even before this attack, you were working on an exit. That means something. Does it mean you will give me a chance?" "It means I want to. But I am scared, J1. Scared of getting hurt. Scared of what your world might do to me. To Sumin. I am scared too. I have not been scared in years, but I am terrified right now. Terrified of losing you. Terrified of failing my daughter. Terrified that I have done too much damage to ever really be free." "Then let us be scared together," she said. "Over the next 3 months, I dismantled my empire piece by piece. It was delicate work. I transferred territory to Minjun, who had always been more comfortable with the violence than I was. I paid off debts. I called in favors. I moved money into legitimate businesses. Real estate, import-export, but actually legal this time. Tech investments. My mother was furious. The council was skeptical. But I had enough leverage, enough dirt on enough people, that they let me go. Naomi was there through all of it. She did not flinch when difficult men came to the apartment for meetings. She did not ask questions she did not want answers to. She just supported me, and she loved Sumin. One night, about 4 months after the attack, I found her on the balcony again, looking at the city lights. "Penny, for your thoughts," I said, "just thinking about how much has changed. For months ago, I was ready to walk away forever. Now I am standing in your home, watching you become someone new. It is surreal. Do you regret staying?" "No, but I worry sometimes. About what happens if someone from your old life comes back. About whether you will miss it." "I will never miss it. The power, maybe, the respect, but not the fear, not the violence, not the weight of knowing that any choice I make might get someone killed." "What will you do when this is all over?" "I have been thinking about architecture, actually. It is what I studied before my father died and I had to take over. I want to design buildings, create something instead of controlling something." She smiled. "I think you would be good at that. And what about you? Are you happy at the hospital?" "I am. But I have been thinking about opening a clinic. Something in an underserved neighborhood. Pediatric care for families who cannot afford it otherwise." "That sounds like you." "We are quite the pair," she laughed. "A former crime boss and an idealistic nurse, trying to save the world one small step at a time. I think we can do it." She turned to face me fully. "I love you, you know. I tried not to. I told myself it was too complicated, too dangerous. But I do. I love you. I love you too. I have since the moment you stood in my shower, terrified and defiant and somehow still trying to explain yourself." She laughed, tears in her eyes. "That feels like a lifetime ago." "It was. We are different people now. Better people? I hope so." 2 months later, I was completely out. Minjun ran things now. I had transitioned everything. I was clean, free, terrified and exhilarated all at once. That is when I started planning the proposal. I wanted it to be perfect, meaningful, a callback to where we started but a promise of where we were going. So I recreated the bathroom, filled it with candles and flowers, rose petals floating in water. It was romantic and absurd and absolutely perfect. I asked Sumin first, of course. "How would you feel if Naomi stayed forever? If she became part of our family officially? My daughter's face lit up like the sun. Can she be my Naomi mom? She can be whatever you want her to be. Then yes. Yes, yes, yes. On a Saturday evening, I told Naomi I needed to show her something. Led her to the bathroom door. Why am I looking at your bathroom? She asked, confused. Just open it. She did, and gasped. The entire room glowed with candlelight. Flower petals covered every surface. And in the middle of it all, I stood waiting. J1, what is this? I took her hand, pulled her inside, and dropped to one knee. Most love stories do not begin with a wrong address and an accidental break-in, I said. Most men do not meet the love of their life while holding a gun. Most relationships do not survive discovering your partner is a criminal. But we are not most people, are we? Tears were already streaming down her face. You walked into the wrong apartment that night. Wrong floor, wrong life, wrong man. But my daughter knew. She saw what I could not. That you were exactly where you were meant to be. You did not just save me, Naomi. You gave me a reason to save myself. You showed me that redemption is not a moment. It is a choice. Every single day choosing to be better. And I want to spend the rest of my life making that choice with you. Will you marry me? She was sobbing now, nodding before she could even speak. Yes, yes. This is still the craziest story I have ever been part of. But yes. I slipped the ring on her finger and pulled her into my arms. Sumin appeared in the doorway, having been listening the whole time, and launched herself at both of us. We stood there, the three of us, holding each other in that bathroom where everything began. The wedding was 6 months later. Small, intimate. My mother came, still disapproving but softening when she saw how happy Sumin was. Naomi's family flew in from Atlanta, her grandmother's sister standing in for the woman who had raised her. The ceremony blended traditions, Korean and American. We honored both cultures, both families, both journeys that had led us here. But the moment that broke everyone was Sumin's speech at the reception. She stood on a chair so people could see her, clutching a microphone too big for her small hands. My daddy was lost in the dark for a long time, she said, her voice clear and strong. After my first mommy went to heaven, he was so sad. He smiled, but his eyes did not smile. Then Naomi came. She came through the water, just like in my dreams. And she brought the light with her. She turned to Naomi. You did not try to be my mommy because my mommy is watching from heaven. But you are my Naomi, and that is something special just for us. Thank you for finding the wrong apartment. Thank you for staying even when it was scary. Thank you for loving my Appa until he could remember how to love himself. There was not a dry eye in the room. Naomi was openly weeping. I was struggling to hold it together. Even my mother was dabbing at her eyes with a handkerchief. Sumin raised her juice glass. To wrong addresses that lead to right places. Everyone raised their glasses, laughing through tears. That night, after the wedding, after the guests had left, after Sumin was asleep at my mother's house giving us privacy, Naomi and I stood on the balcony of our home. Our home, not mine, ours. No regrets? I asked. Not a single one. You? Only that I did not find you sooner. She laughed. I think we found each other exactly when we were supposed to. Any earlier and you would not have been ready to change. I would not have been ready to believe someone could. We stood there, holding each other, looking out at the city that had brought us together. I never believed in fate, I said quietly. I believed in power, in control, in making your own way through force. But that night, when you stood in my shower, terrified and trying to explain, and my daughter whispered that you were the one, something changed. Maybe it was fate. Maybe it was luck. Maybe it was just two broken people finding each other at the exact right moment. Whatever it was, I am grateful. Me too, she whispered. 3 years later, we have built something beautiful. I design sustainable buildings now. Community centers, affordable housing, structures that give back instead of taking. Naomi opened her clinic, serving families who have nowhere else to turn. Sumin is thriving, happy, surrounded by love from all directions. My mother finally accepted Naomi, especially after our son was born. She says he has the sight too. I do not know if I believe it, but I believe in second chances. I believe in redemption. I believe that love can find you in the strangest places if you are brave enough to let it in. If you are watching this and waiting for your own miracle, do not give up hope. Sometimes the wrong door leads you exactly where you belong. Sometimes the person who seems most impossible is the one who makes everything possible. And sometimes a child's whisper can change the entire trajectory of your life. If this story touched your heart, hit that like button and subscribe to this channel for more stories about impossible love, unexpected grace, and the miracles hiding in life's strangest moments. Share this with someone who needs to hear that it is never too late to change your path, never too late to become who you were meant to be. Because sometimes the wrong address leads you to exactly the right home. And sometimes the woman in your shower is the answer to prayers you did not even know you were praying.